Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Intro to Web Development. I'm your host, Creative Builds. Last episode, we covered adding images to the web page and adjusting the sizes. We also talked about formatting the content by means of making use of divs. This time, we'll be taking it up a notch as we start implementing JavaScript in order to make way for user interactions. You see, there are two kinds of web pages, static and dynamic. Static web pages are ones that are fixed and display the same content for every single user. It can simply be made using HTML and CSS. A dynamic website, on the other hand, is one that can display different content and provide user interaction. As you can tell from the progress we've made so far, static websites are easier to build, while dynamic websites require a bit more work. Let's get started. First thing we need to do is to remove all of our unneeded code from the last episode. We'll also be changing the title to user interactions. And now we can go on and add a button here just below the H1 tag. Buttons are one of the main ways users can interact with your website. So starting off, let's type in a opening button tag, and then we'll enter the text "click me." You can put whatever you want here, and then a closing button tag to indicate to the browser that this is in fact a button. Now, if you click this, it would look like the button is working, but we still need to make it interactive. So to make the button interactive, we should implement an onClick attribute. Type in onClick equals and then run hello world. Don't forget to add your parentheses, and where the spaces would be, we'll just have underscores. And now we're ready to use onClick to trigger the function run hello world. Run hello world is a function in JavaScript that we still have to make in our main.js file. The .js means it's a JavaScript file. You may come across a .ts file in the future, and that's for TypeScript, which is a more advanced version of JavaScript that we'll get to in a future series. After you've made the file, we need to add the HTML script tag to import it into our website. Script tags are used to tell the browser where your JavaScript files are at. In this case, we'll link to the new file, main.js. To do this, we put in script, and then source the attribute equals, and then ./main.js. The / just references that this file, this main.js file, is going to be located in the same directory as our HTML file. Now let's swap over to our main.js file and get started on that. First, we add the keyword function and the name we used in the HTML file. In this case, run_hello_world, and then our parentheses and some curly brackets. If we had any input variables, they would go inside of the parentheses. Since we don't, we can leave those be. The curly brackets contain the code that should be run whenever this function is called. Currently, we're calling this function by means of the onClick attribute back in the button of the HTML file. Remember, if you put anything outside of the curly brackets, it won't be a part of your function and it will most likely cause errors. For now, let's just do a basic console.log hello world. Here, we're accessing something called the console, and then we run a function called log. It lets you see any variables you pass into the log function, and in this case, we're using a string. The browser can read it as a string because we denoted it by using either single quotes or double quotes. The console.log function is going to be your bread and butter. It allows you to see the inner workings of your script. Now let's head on over to the browser and check out on our Click Me button. Load up the web page and open the console by pressing Ctrl+Shift+I all at the same time, and then navigate over to the console tab. Go ahead and press the button and you should see the text Hello World in the console. If you see a red error, read what it says and it will most likely tell you what's going wrong with your code. If you're not sure, leave a comment in the description for help. There are also other ways of using JavaScript, and one of these is inline scripting, which can be done in HTML. Inline scripting does not link to an external JavaScript file because you put all the JavaScript inside the tags, just like how you would put text inside a paragraph tag. Paste what you had in the other file here, and we'll add the text inline underscore to the front of the function name to differentiate it from the JavaScript file. Change the console log to hello from inline. Make sure to update the onClick attribute to use the new function, load it up, and you'll see that the new function is getting called just like it was in the main.js file. So to wrap it all up, this episode was all about introducing you to user interactions and how to handle them with JavaScript. Right now we don't have the page changing at all, and we're just outputting some text to the console, but in the next episode, we'll start being able to edit HTML with JavaScript. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed and learned from this video. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to join our community by subscribing or joining the Discord link below. And until the next episode, keep learning, keep coding. New tutorials come out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday and Wednesday, with devlogs same time on Friday.